We've all heard them, right? The I am sayings of Jesus. They're kind of familiar, almost cozy. But what if there's more to it? What if they're not just nice metaphors, but pieces of a puzzle? A puzzle that, when you solve it, reveals one of the most shocking claims ever made. Yeah, here they are, the greatest hits from the Gospel of John. I am the bread of life, the light of the world, the true vine. You know the list. They're powerful for sure. They're poetic. But I think we hear them so often that we forget to ask, what did they actually mean? Because just knowing the words, well, that's not the same as really getting it. And that's really what we're digging into here. I mean, think about it. Claiming to be the Messiah, that's a pretty big deal. That's enough to change the world. But what if Jesus was claiming something even more radical? Something that didn't just point to him as a king, but pointed directly at God himself. Okay, so here's the first major piece of the puzzle. It's something that's hiding in plain sight, and most of us just read right over it. See, John's gospel is very clever. It doesn't just give us one kind of I am saying. It gives us two, and once you see the difference, everything clicks into place. All right, have a look at this. On one side, we have what scholars call predicated statements. Fancy word, but all it means is that I am is followed by something. I am the light of the world. Easy enough. But then look at the other side. This is the game changer, the absolute I am. Here, Jesus just says, unless you believe that I am, full stop. I am what? That's the whole point. He's not saying he is something. He's claiming the name I am itself. So, this is where it gets really interesting. Where in the world did Jesus get this strange, standalone I am phrase? He didn't just make it up. No, he was quoting. He was pulling from the source code of the Hebrew Scriptures, specifically from the prophet Isaiah. So, here it is, straight from Isaiah. And it's not a person speaking, it's God. Yahweh himself says that you may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Now, the key here is the ancient Greek translation of the Old Testament, the one everyone used back then. It's called the Septuagint, and in that version, the phrase for I am he is ego eimi. Just tuck that phrase away for a second, ego eimi. And now, look at what Jesus says in the Gospel of John. It's almost word for word, that when it does take place, you may believe that I am he. And guess what the Greek phrase is? Yep, ego eimi. This is not a coincidence. This is a deliberate, targeted quotation. It's like a hyperlink back to that moment in Isaiah where God reveals his name. And this is the whole thing right here. He's not just quoting a prophet to make a point. He's taking the very words God used to identify himself, and he's putting them in his own mouth. He's saying, those words God spoke, they're about me. That's an absolutely massive, earth-shaking claim. Okay, so now that we have that key, the absolute I am from Isaiah, let's go back to those more familiar sayings, like I am the light of the world. Because when you understand the context, when you see where and when he said these things, wow, the meaning just blows up. Okay, I want you to try and picture this. It's the Feast of Tabernacles in Jerusalem. It's a huge deal. And at night, in the temple courts, they would light up these 4 gigantic, 75-foot-tall golden candelabras. I mean, massive. They burned so brightly they lit up the entire city. And this whole light show wasn't just for fun. It was a reenactment. It was meant to remind everyone of the pillar of fire, the visible glory of Yahweh himself that led their ancestors through the wilderness. So, you've got this incredible spectacle of light filling Jerusalem, a symbol of God's presence. And it's right then, in that exact moment, surrounded by all this history and symbolism, that Jesus stands up and says, I am the light of the world. The timing, it's just perfect. It couldn't be more dramatic. And you have to get this. The pillar of fire wasn't just a metaphor for God. For the ancient Israelites, it was God's visible, personal presence leading them. So Jesus isn't just saying, I'm a nice source of wisdom. He's saying, you see these giant lamps? They're a symbol, a temporary reenactment. I am the real thing. I am the permanent, walking, talking pillar of fire. The presence of Yahweh is standing right in front of you. And all of this builds to what is probably the most explosive moment in his entire ministry. He's in this heated debate, and finally, he just drops the bomb. He says, truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was, I am. And just listen to the grammar. He doesn't say, before Abraham was, I was, which would be normal. He says, before Abraham was, I am. He's claiming to exist outside of time in the eternal present. He's claiming the very nature of God. Now, if you're ever wondering if he was being misunderstood, just look at the crowd's reaction. They don't scratch their heads. They don't ask for clarification. They immediately bend down, pick up rocks, and try to stone him to death. Why? Because there's only one crime in Jewish law that gets that instant reaction: blasphemy, for claiming to be God. They knew exactly what he was saying.
But the claims don't stop there. The final proof isn't a statement, it's a demonstration. And it happens in the most dramatic setting possible, the Garden of Gethsemane, right as he's about to be arrested. So the scene is dark, it's tense. A whole group of soldiers and temple guards shows up. They've got weapons, they've got torches. They mean business. They've come to arrest Jesus. They call out, asking for Jesus of Nazareth. And he just steps forward, calmly, and says it again, the absolute phrase. Not "I am he" or "that's me." Just "ego eimi," I am.
And then something incredible happens. The moment he says, "I am," the entire group of armed soldiers and guards, these tough guys, they draw back and literally fall flat on their backs. Think about that. Just speaking the name unleashes this wave of power that knocks them off their feet. This isn't just an answer, it's a manifestation of divine power, a theophany, right at the moment they're trying to arrest him. So let's put all the pieces together. The sayings like, "I am the light," those are Jesus claiming to do the things only Yahweh can do. But the absolute sayings, just "I am," that's him claiming Yahweh's actual name and being. And when you add in the context, like the feasts and the reactions of the crowd, trying to stone him, falling to the ground, it's impossible to miss. They all understood he was claiming to be God.
And that's really the question we're left with, isn't it? If Jesus wasn't just claiming to be another prophet, or even just the Messiah, if he was quite literally claiming to be the I am of the Old Testament, how does that change everything? How does it make you reread the entire story, knowing that the man walking through Galilee was, by his own claim, Yahweh in human form?